Guys, does anyone know what is operating system? So in our
Hello.
laptop, we are using the Windows is the operating system, right? So why we need Windows on our laptop? So hardware knows which language, guys? Guys, does anyone knows hardware knows which language?
I think C, C plus plus or football. I think I'm not sure. It's a
Oh, it's
long time
Anand,
back.
right? Anand, your voice is
Yes,
very low and your voice also breaking. So can you speak loudly?
I think C, C plus plus.
Mm-hmm. Hardware. So your mobile or something like your laptop. So your laptop is made up with CPU, right? CPU is the main central processing unit. Central processing unit is the main component. Central processing unit is developed through the chip, right? So chip knows
Correct.
which language?
Binary language.
Yes, very good. Binary?
Language.
Binary language. Binary means?
Zeros and ones.
Yes, very good. So binary means zeros and ones. So computer, your hardware, either HP, Lenovo, Apple, Samsung, whatever the hardware knows only the binary language. Hardware knows only the binary language. So these are the hardwares. Hardware knows only what these are. These are hardware. Hardware. This is the hardware. Hardware knows only. Hardware knows only binary
Binary.
binary language. Binary language. Hardware knows only binary language. So user. So you are interacting with your mobile phone or a laptop, right? So you knows which language. You knows which language, guys? Guys, tell me, we know which language? So we are communicating with which language, guys?
English.
Yes, English. English, English language. English language is nothing but a high level language. So hardware. So there is no OS is installed on our machine. Just it's a hardware. Just it's a hardware. So hardware knows only binary language. You guys, you is user is nothing but a you guys. You are using your laptop, right? So you are the user to interact with the hardware. So you are the user. So user knows only English language. Which language? English language. English language. So hardware knows only binary language. So hardware knows only binary language. User knows only English language. So user doesn't know the English language. Hardware doesn't know the hardware doesn't know the user doesn't know the binary language. Hardware doesn't know the English language. So they are unable to communicate with each other. They are unable to communicate with each other. They are unable to communicate with each other because of hardware knows only binary language. Binary means zeros and ones. User knows only English language. So definitely we need a mediator to communicate with the hardware. How we can communicate with the hardware? So user doesn't know the binary language and computer doesn't know the English language. So we need a mediator. We need a mediator. For example, something like the languages are Victoria and iPhone and Lenovo. So which language are you using? Which language are you using? Guys, Victoria, something like I will tell you Spanish, something like in India we are using something like a Telugu language or Hindi language. So this user doesn't know the English. So this user doesn't know the Spanish language. This user doesn't know the Hindi. This user doesn't know the Spanish language. So we are unable to communicate with each other. We are unable to communicate with each other. So how we can communicate with each other? We need a mediator which knows the both the languages, which knows both the languages. For example, so this is Anand or something like this is a Victoria. This is a Victoria. So this is a Anand. So something like this is the Hari. So this is Hari. So Hari knows both the languages. Hari knows both the languages, Spanish and Hindi. Hari knows both the languages. So if you want to communicate to Victoria from Anand, so we are using a Hari. Hari is the mediator. Hari knows both the languages. So whatever he knows, he conveyed with the Hindi. He translate to the Spanish, and he will convey the message to the Victoria. So here Hari is the mediator. So who knows the both the languages? Who knows both the languages? Same like here, user knows only English language and hardware knows only binary language. So user doesn't communicate with the user does not communicate directly with the hardware, and hardware does not communicate directly with the user. So we need a mediator. So we need a mediator which knows both the languages. So what is the operating system? Operating system is a mediator or a interface. Interface between, guys tell me, interface between user and hardware. Guys, what is the OS meaning? What is the operating system meaning, guys? So OS knows both the languages. OS knows both the languages means a binary and guys tell me
Okay, now working.
English. So binary and English. Whatever the user communicate with the English, something like for example A, so it will take the OS and converts as a binary, something like a 10101010. So convert as a binary. Who converts? Operating system. That's the reason we need a operating system on our hardware. That's the reason we need a operating system on our hardware. So hardware cannot communicate directly through the user. User directly cannot communicate with the hardware. Definitely we need a mediator. That mediator is nothing but a operating system. Mediator is nothing but a operating system. For example, in your mobile. Guys, which mobiles you are using? Which hardware you are using? For example, Samsung, for example, Realme, Oppo, whatever it may be. Victoria and Lenovo Home. So which hardware you are using, guys? Mobile hardware, guys. Mobile hardware. So which mobiles you are using, guys? Which mobile are you using?
Apple,
Oppo,
Samsung,
Samsung, Samsung. Guys, which mobile phones are you using? So for example, upon Samsung. So something like you are using your mobile phone. So you know which language? Guys, tell me, you know which language?
English language.
English. Only English, you know. And mobile, Samsung Oppo knows only, this is the hardware, knows only a binary language. So, binary language. Guys, on. Yeah, guys, sorry to disturb you. Yeah. So, mobile, something like your hardware knows only binary language, user knows only English language. How you are interacting with your mobile. So, which operating system is installed on your mobile? Guys, does anyone knows which operating system is installed on your mobile?
Android, I think.
Yes. Android. Android.
iOS.
Yes. iOS. So Android and iOS. Android and iOS operating systems are installed. Then only we can communicate with the hardware, your mobile phones. For example, guys. So which Wi-Fi routers you are using? Guys, which Wi-Fi routers you are using?
Geo.
So Wi-Fi routers,
Geo, right?
Geo, Victoria Home, guys, which Wi-Fi routers you are using? Spectrum, guys, Victoria,
Frontier.
Lenovo, which one?
D-Link.
Frontier.
Sorry,
D-Link.
D-Link, guys,
Frontier.
I didn't understand.
Frontier. Frontier.
Spell it, or you can paste,
F
you can
R F R O N T I E R.
FRO, Fronet,
In the chat.
yeah. So something like a Froneter, also you are using you are using. So Geo D-Link. So default username password will came after installing your router, right? After you are changing your Wi-Fi name and password, right? After that you are changing your Wi-Fi name and password, right? So Geo D-Link Fortinator, these are the hardwares. So how you are interacting with this hardware? How you are interacting with this hardware? How you are changing this Wi-Fi username password on your hardware? Definitely, if you are interacting with any hardware, if you are interacting with any hardware, definitely there will be a OS installed on that machine. Then only we can interact with the hardware. Otherwise, so we cannot interact with the hardware. For example, video games. So video games, routers, so whatever it may be. So if you are interacting with any hardware, definitely there will be a OS. So there will be a OS installed on that machine. Then only we can interact with the hardware. Otherwise, so we cannot interact with that hardware because of user knows only English language and hardware knows only binary language. How you are interacting with the hardware? You don't know the hardware binary language. So and the computer cannot communicate with the user because of hardware knows only binary language. Hardware doesn't know the user language is nothing but an English language. So definitely, whenever you are interacting with any hardware, so if you are interacting with any hardware, definitely there will be a OS is installed, then only we can interact with the hardware. Otherwise, we cannot interact with the hardware. So, for example, if you buy the HP, Lenovo, Apple, Samsung hardwares, only new hardware, new laptops without OS. So, so are you interacting with this hardware without OS? No, because of so hardware knows only the binary language, user knows only the English language. So we cannot communicate with the hardware directly. So we need a mediator. The mediator is nothing but a operating system. Whatever it may be, whatever it may be, either Windows or Linux or iOS or Android, whatever the OS is. So if you want to interact with the any hardware, definitely there will be a OS is installed. But either whatever it may be, either Android or Windows or Linux or something like a Mac, whatever it may be. Definitely, if you are interacting with any hardware, definitely there will be a OS is installed on that OS, on that machine. Guys, now you understood, right? What is a OS? A OS is a operating system is a mediator or interface between user and hardware. User and hardware. Guys, now you understand, right? What is OS? Guys, tell me everyone. What is OS?
It is mediator or interface between the user and hardware.
Yeah, very good. So, Victoria, what
Yeah.
is OS? What is OS?
I'm sorry, what is what?
What is OS? What is operating system? Operating system is a
Mediator.
mediator or interface
Mhm.
between user and hardware, right?
Okay.
Yeah, home. So, what is OS? iPhone. What is OS?
Hello, Harry.
Yeah, what is
Also,
OS?
voice. Is it regarding the operating system?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So, operating system is a mediator or interface between user and hardware. Operating system is nothing but a mediator or interface between user and hardware. Right? Home, you there? Home? Home, did you understand? What is OS? Ramakrishna?
Yeah, Hari. OS is nothing but mediator of hardware language and user language.
Mediator?
OS is
Mediator or
nothing but
interface?
mediator or
Hmm.
interface of binary language and user language.
Mm-hmm. So, operating system is nothing but a mediator or interface between user and hardware.
User
User
language
and
and hardware language.
user
Yeah.
and hardware. Are you able to see my
Hardware.
screen, Ramakrishna?
Yeah, Hari.
Are able to see my screen, right? So here
Yeah.
there is a meaning of a operating system. Operating system is a mediator or interface between user and hardware.
Hardware.
User and hardware.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, understood, right? So OS. So definitely, whenever you are using any hardware, definitely. So how we can interact with that hardware? So definitely with the help of OS, so we can interact with that hardware. User cannot directly interact with the hardware because of user doesn't know the binary language. So who knows the binary language? OS, operating system knows the binary language. Then so OS interacting with the hardware. So OS know the English language, high level language. So OS interact with the a user and the hardware. User and the hardware. You understood? What is OS?
It is the interface or mediator between the user and the hardware. Yeah.
Yes. So OS can be two types. OS can be a two types. So HP laptop images. So this is the HP laptop. So something like so in our HP laptop, how many users are interacting at a time? Guys, how many users are accessing this laptop at a time? How many users are accessing this laptop at a time?
Single user.
Single user.
Normally single user, yes.
Single user operating. Single user operating system. So multi-user operating system. So multi-user operating system is nothing but so you can interact that hardware. So you can interact multiple people. So in that hardware at a time you can interact with multiple people. Something like Dell PowerEdge R710. So images. So this hardware name is something like a Dell PowerEdge R710. So this is a multi-user operating system. Multi-user operating system. So, so how many types of OSs are there? Two types of OSs. One is single user operating system and another one is multi-user operating system. So single user operating system, so it will interact only with at a time, only one people can interact with this hardware. So multi-user operating system. So this hardware we are using for the multi-user operating system. So multi-user operating system, they can interact with the multiple people at a time. We can interact with the OS. Okay, you can interact with the OS at a time, multiple people. So what are the single user operating systems, guys? So what are the single user operating systems?
Windows.
Yes, Windows 10, Windows 8,
Windows 7,
Windows,
Windows
Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows XP, and Ubuntu, Mac, CentOS 7. So these all are the single user operating systems. We can interact with the hardware, we can interact with the OS at a time, only a single person. Something like a Windows 10 or whatever the laptops we are using. In that laptops we are installing the which OS, something like a, so this is a single user operating system. So single user operating system having some limitations. So multi-user operating system. Guys, does anyone knows what are the multi-user operating systems? Guys, does anyone knows what are the multi-user operating systems? Windows, Windows Server 2016, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2008, for example, Linux. So Linux is a multi-user operating system. Linux is a multi-user operating system. Multi-user operating system. Then Unix. Unix also. So Unix also multi-user operating system. So these all are the multi-user operating systems. Multi-user operating system. So Linux is only popular for the multi-user operating system. So something like this name we call it as a server. What is this? This name it call it as a server. This name it call it as a client or something like a client or a something like a laptop. So this is a client one. This is the server one. Server we can communicate with we can interact with the multiple people. We can interact with the multiple people the same way. So whatever so Windows. So who developed Windows, guys? Who created the Windows? Windows OS?
Microsoft.
Microsoft. Microsoft. So Microsoft company, they created two types of OSs. Microsoft company, they created two types of OSs. So OSs. The same way, so the hardware companies also created two types of hardwares. Two types of hardware. So for example, Dell Latitude. So Dell Latitude is for the client one. Dell PowerEdge or 710, 610, whatever it may be. So these all are the server side. The same way HP also created HP ProLiant, HP EliteBook, HP EliteBook or so this is for the client purpose. This is for the client purpose. This is for the server purpose. I will tell you why server hardware is big. HP ProLiant. HP ProLiant. It's the same way as a Toshiba, Samsung, the same like as a HP, Dell. So they are created two types of Lenovo. So Compaq, Asus. So these all are for these all hardware companies are developed only the client side. So and the IBM Blade servers, IBM Blade servers, IBM IBM company created their own servers. That servers is only designed for the server side, server side. Same like as a so whenever the voice so whoever the created voice, two types of voices. So whenever we create, whenever something like who are designed for the OSs, they are created two types of OSs, along as hardware companies also created two types of hardwares. Hardware companies also created two types of hardwares. So one is for client and one is for the server. So one is for the server, one is for the server. So here Linux. So Linux is only popular for the server side OS. Linux is only popular for the server side OS. Linux only popular for the server side multi-user operating system. Multi-user operating system. So multi-user operating system. So who developed, who invented this OS? Who invented this OS? Something like, does anyone knows who developed, who created the Linux OS? Guys,
Bill Ritchie something.
who is
Dennis Ritchie is
Linus
some-
Torvald? Linus Torvald in 1991, they created the Linux OS. So he studied in the something like Oxford or university. He studied in one of the university. His mentor or his mentor is asking to create a new OS. So with the help of Unix, he created a new OS with the help of Unix. They created a new OS called as a Minix. The OS name is called as a Minix OS. It is with the help of Unix OS. They created a Minix OS. But Minix having some limitations. Minix having some limitations, something like there is no network. So they have some drawbacks. So he overcome those drawbacks and created a one OS, one new OS, one new OS. So he is thinking like I want to create I want to put a name for that new OS. I want to put a name for this new OS. So his thought is something like, so what is the name of his first four letters, guys? Line. So Linus. What is his name? Linus. Took from first four letters of his name and unique last letter from the Unix. It took these two. It took these two and created as a OS called Linux. He created a new OS name called it as a Linux. What is this, guys? Linux. Linux OS. Linux OS. So he created a Linux OS and he released as a open source. He released as a open source. So he released as a open source. So open source means so there will be 2 points are source code available, and the second one is nothing but free of cost. Source code available and the second one is free of cost. So Linus Torvald released as a open source. Open source means source code also available, free of cost. Free of cost means it will be available with the free of cost and source code. Source code means so he developed the OS, right? How he can develop the OS? He developed the OS or whatever the language. For example, C language, the software code also it he is released as a free. He is released as a free and it's a free of cost. It's a free of cost. Guys, will tell you tomorrow. So every company took that source code. Took that source code. For example, so I have Facebook, something like a code. I have the Facebook code and whatever wherever the Facebook is there, I modified it as a something like a book face and I released as a book face website. Bookface website because of source code available. So I have the Facebook source code, I have the Facebook source code and I rename it as a book face and I released as a book face. So same way all the companies took that source code and created their own OSs. So tomorrow I will show you that OSs, guys. Now you understood, right? OS can be divided into two types. One is single user operating system, multi-user operating system. What is OS? OS is nothing but a mediator or interface between user and computer. So because of user doesn't know the hardware language, hardware doesn't know the English language, user language. That's the reason we need a mediator who knows both the languages. So OS knows both the languages. What are the OSs? So Microsoft, Linux, and Unix. So some companies have created their own OSs. So each OS having their own something like which company. Microsoft having the two types of OS. Single user they created for the two types of OSs. One is for single user operating system, other one is for multi-user operating system. Guys, I will tell you, single user operating system knows everyone because of everyone using the single user operating system. So what is multi-user operating system? So we are learning the multi-user operating system where we need to install and where we need to deploy our application to the into the servers. So guys, so tomorrow you will get the more clarity or more picture about the server. Guys understood?
Yes.
Guys understood?
Yeah, Hari.
Anand,
Yes. Yes.
iPhone, Ram, Krishna, Anand,
Yes.
Victoria,
Yes.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Well, no, you
Yes,
guys
sir.
understood, right? So
Yeah.
tomorrow you will get
Yes.
the good, you will get a picture about the Linux OS and took that source code, who are created the OS, what are the OS names. So we'll tell you tomorrow, and will give you a brief picture about the server and why we need server. So why we need Linux OS and where we deploy our application into the in which servers. So why Linux is popular, guys, will tell you tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. We'll continue from tomorrow.
Same time, right?
Yeah, same time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.